know what? It's going to be word of mouth anyway. We've got to do that anyhow. So it's all just about that anyhow. So we're all good on that level. All right, let's see if I can get Earl up in here now. I don't know how in the world you're supposed to be able to communicate with people, man. You're supposed to be able to send messages. I don't know how. Hey, Sheila, do you have your phone with you tonight? What I might do is give Earl your phone number, and he's going to text questions from Vegas. The rehab in Vegas is going to be tuning in.
Okay.
And then maybe he can ask you questions from there. Hey, buddy, you there?
Hold on 1 second. New flyers or new, I just I threw it together last minute. It's ugly.
Mine's ugly. Look at mine.
Oh, no. No, okay, so we can add them together. But, I just took our old flyer, got it on like Thomas Guide.
I used to have the old flyer. Yours is so much better.
Stop. No. People can take whatever. But there's a guy outside asking for them.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Make sure he gets one.
That's my like, it's my friend Francis.
Hi, Francis. How you doing?
Well, how about yourself?
Good, thank you.
Jordan's here tonight. Copy on the right.
If anything she doesn't follow is good.
Yeah.
My God, that's so bad.
Yeah? Yeah, it should be live. It should hurt. Okay, you should see me now. Can you see me? Stripes, kind of blue light. I don't know. You should see me moving right now. It's striped, kind of a light blue. It should be blue. Can you see a headset on me? Okay, I got my headset on, so if you don't see my headset on, you're gonna get in the live picture. You got me? Oh. Yeah, try and get into the live feed. I'm trying. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can invite you. See if I can invite you, and that will help. Just share, send, invite, add names, circles, and email. What's your email address there? What's your email address? I can get you an email right now, and I'll send you the link. At contact AAC E Hopkins. Hold on, I gotta get Hopkins K-I-N-S. Hold on 1 second. Come on, baby. Let me get back in. Hold on. There we go.
Hi, watch out for yourself.
Oh, thank you. Bam. Okay. Good. How's it going?
Good.
Okay, E Hopkins at contact. AAC. Okay, it should be on its way. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I sent you an invite, so you should be getting it. Okay, it should be on its way right now. Invitation's posted. And there's a chat button there, Earl, and everything. So if you got a question and answers or anything, there's chat buttons, all kinds of shit once you get on. You should be. I sent you an invite, so. What's that? Is there another email you want me to send it to, just in case? I got it. So it went. Okay, you should be getting it then.
Are you done with the conversation?
No, yeah, what's going on?
No, I have to prove that I was here, so if you could sign here.
Sure. Where do you want me to sign, right here?
Right there, yeah. Thank you, sir.
So will the meeting start at the same time? It's a new location?
You should be able to get on. I'm just sending you a link. Hey, is it Hopkins, Earl? It's pluralized, Earl? Is it plural? I got it, brother. I sent it to you. I'm just sending you another one.
Hey,
Come on.
Bill, how you doing, buddy?
I'm so spoiled, right? I didn't have to go to somebody else's house. I'm proud of it.
Wow.
Take it back. Take it back. How you doing, my man?
Good, man.
Good to be missed.
Hey.
How you doing, man? Who else is here? Any of them other hooligans show up?
Okay. Nothing yet? All right, so you got that.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I didn't even recognize you.
Okay, send another one.
Right here.
Okay, you should have it. I sent you another one, Earl.
Is it Earl on the phone?
So let's hope you get it relatively quickly here. You just can't go. You guys can't get on to just going on live feed, huh? It's not allowing you on. Just going through the live feed, huh? That's interesting. You know what, Earl? Hold on one second. I'm going to call my tech guy and see if I can get him on the line real quick. I'll call you right back, okay? Okay, bye. Can you turn that light on over there for me? Can you hit that wall there? Thank you.
Wow.
Invitation posted. I got it. Howard, what's up? You're a little tired tonight.
Yeah.
You all right?
A little aggravated with my works. So it'll be at the same time, 8 o'clock. And it'll start next week.
What's that?
It'll be next week, huh?
Yep. Start next week. Got that room for next 2 weeks booked for sure. I'm just going to keep digging, see what happens.
So it's just a week.
Maybe the place. I don't know. I have to kind of. They want to meet, talk. You know what I mean? Do all that stuff. So we got it for the next 2 weeks for sure.
Make sure we're not
Pretty much.
smoking weed.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure we're not smoking pot in there. So once we get that cleared, we should be fine.
What's the, skyline?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful grounds. Yeah, the grounds are really beautiful. I will say that. It's really nice out there. I can feel that breeze coming in now from here.
Is it easy to find?
This is so close to my house.
It is not that bad. It's just out of a remote place, just remote.
It's kind of like in the residential area.
Hey, man. Any luck? I don't fucking understand, man. I have no idea, Earl. I don't know why. You should be linked in. You've gone on before, right? And I sent the link to you. You sent an invite. Should be going to Earl Hopkins, ehopkins at contactaac.com. I've sent 3 of them. CONTACTS. CT, I mean. Contact AAC.com, right? Right. Just contact, no pluralize, right? Just contact AAC.com. Yeah, sent 3 of them, brother.
No,
Sent,
for the moment.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. It doesn't make sense. I've had a lot of people turn on. Seth did it. Everybody did. You know what? Did you try going through? Where did you go through? Did you go to Google Hangouts or did you go to? Where did you go to try and get on? Are you going through YouTube? Okay, try going to. Hey, God, should be a link there. Fucking A. Who's been on here before? I gotta find someone who's been on here before. I have to find someone who's been on here before. I can't find one.
Yeah.
Hey, Damien, how you doing, brother? What, Earl?
So
And I have no clue why. You were able to get on before, though, correct? You did get on live at all?
I love Home Depot.
Oh, man. All right, well, we're gonna have to make do with what we got, brother. I'm gonna be broadcasting live. All I can suggest is try to go to YouTube and see if you can find the link from YouTube. If you can't do it through you,
I shouldn't wear it.
okay, so you can't back out of YouTube. Doesn't tell you the link for the Google account.
Someday.
And so I got 3 rollers.
Okay.
I got 3 rollers.
Go to Thought Life Connection. Look up Thought Life Connection.
So how's your?
Find the most recent post. You should find a link there that you can put a copy in and go to the broadcast.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right. So does it have a link there though? Does it have a link to the Google website?
Try not to put too
Not
much.
10 months ago. What's the most recent one up there on YouTube? It is? And now you're going to work. You got some more of the recent ones, right? Where'd you get those recent ones from? From the website? Okay. In that website should be embed code. Have you ever gone on this chat line?
Yeah, it is pretty.
We'll have it figured out next week, or I'll have to go through it with Seth and figure out what. Okay, brother. Let me know how it goes, man. Okay, babe. Unbelievable.
Uh-oh, unable to connect.
No, he couldn't get on. I have no idea why. Oh well. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Casey. I'm a recovering alcoholic. Please join me in surrendering prayer. God, grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. All right, welcome to Thought Life Connection 12-Step Workshop, which is open to anybody and everybody, which means you do not have to declare, to share, or ask questions. But if you wish to declare, you're more than welcome to, and we can go around the room and introduce ourselves, starting on my left.
I'm Klondike.
Hey, Klondike.
I'm Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
I'm Maria.
Maria.
I'm Howard. I'm alcoholic.
Hey, Howard.
Mad alcoholic.
Matt.
Mia, Alamo.
Hi, Mia. Hey, Shy.
I'm Lynn Addict.
Hi, Lynn. Hey, Nick. Damien. Hi, Susan. Hey, Dan. Hey, Jess. Robert. Hey, Megan.
Hugo alcoholic.
Hey, Hugo.
Mad alcoholic.
Hi, Francis. Hey, Sheila. Hey, Jim.
Leo alcoholic.
Hey, Leo. Anybody else? All right, welcome. Give yourselves a hand. Show them up. Give me a hand. All right, the 12 steps are a blueprint for a way of life for anybody and everybody. This is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other so that they may solve their common problems and help others to recover. The only requirement for membership is the desire to live the 12 steps and have a better life. There are no dues or fees. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. This group is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to carry the message of the 12 steps and stay happily and peacefully whole. Do we have any birthdays tonight? No birthdays? Do we have an Al-Anon birthday? It's okay. It's celebrated here. If you really want to take one.
Celebrate every.
Yeah, we celebrate birthdays here. Do you want to take a cake? We got a cake. Might as well use it, right, Mia? Okay, let's go for it. Let's go for it. Let's fire that cake for her. Who's out there? Hey, Rito. Come here for a second. 1 year, Mia? How long? Oh, a month. Okay. Well, she's not going to take cake for a month. But when you get a year, we're going to give you a cake. You did? All right. So we'll do the birthday in 11 months for Mia. So that's an obligation. You just made a commitment now. Do it for 11 months. All right. All right. That is cute. Okie dokie. Where am I going here? We're going to read the promises and we're going to get this thing going. Who wants to read the promises? Come on up.
I'm Lynn Addict.
Oh, Lynn.
Happy to be here
Perfect.
tonight.
I recognize you. Oh, my God. You lost that ton of weight. You're great.
Promises. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We're going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past or shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them.
Thank you. And what a you're looking great. I can see it. All right. So let's we're gonna do a little meditation. Just get settled down a little bit. Let's hit those front lights if you would over there. And then get yourself in a comfortable position, uncross your legs. And this is all about, you know, the meditation, it's all about improving our conscious contact with the power greater than ourselves, understood by you, bringing only from knowledge of God's will for you and the power to carry that out. So meditation is a soul-to-soul communion with your Creator. So it's time to just unwind and get rid of the thinking. That's what we're going to take you through right now. So as you hear the music, kind of just let yourself be guided by the words that are there, and I'll see what I can come up with to keep you in place. But uncross your legs, get yourself comfortable. The idea of meditation is to have that soul-to-soul communion. So as you sit there and you enter into a meditative state, be aware that your soul, call forth your soul in this moment to be in this moment. Let your brain, your body take a back seat to this moment, and let your soul come out to this present. The soul is your inner voice, your inner ears. This is where your soul lies. So you're reaching deep inside for that part of you that connects that inner voice in your inner ears, and that represents your soul pattern. And there's where all your passions lie, all your questions, all your answers, everything that's about you, every thought and action has been recorded. It's recorded in the space that surrounds your soul. So as you enter into soul-to-soul communion, the body gets further and further away from this moment. More and more does the energy of your soul come forth to this moment. And as you reach out for your Creator to improve your conscious contact, God, as you understood it, not as I understand Him or anybody else, it's understood by you. This is your moment to get quiet with your Creator and have that soul-to-soul communion where nothing else interrupts. And you're able to align yourself with that rhythm, that omniscient light that's centering each and every one of us. In order to be God, the definition of God is omnipresent, which means everywhere all the time, within everything and outside of everything, controlling it. Centering everything and outside of everything, controlling it. Omniscient is the other factor in that God image. And omniscient means to have all knowledge. And then comes omnipotent. That means to have all power. So as you enter into meditation, it's your God, understood by you, your omnipresence, your omniscience, and your omnipotence to what you're aware of in your life. Nobody else. And that's why this is understood by you. So be comfortable in meditation. You've done it many times. You usually call it daydreaming. And that's when your mind is just open. And it's not thinking about anything. It's just free. In reality, it's full because there are no parts. So as you enter into meditation, we're trying to let our thinking go, just unwind. Just let thoughts just unwind. It's not a thinking process of meditation. Meditation is created by a desiring of that soul-to-soul communion, a desire for stillness, a desire to be quiet, and a desire to be free from thinking, to just be in your knowing, which is your mind, by the grace of God. And so as you enter this state, enter into your knowing, you're going to let your thinking unwind. This is done by desire. Just desiring to let your thoughts go. It's sort of what happens in a daydream state. Just let them float. You're not wrapping around them. You're not concentrating on them. You're actually doing the opposite of concentration. This is called decentration. So decentration is to withdraw your thinking. Concentration is to focus your thinking to one spot. So as you unwind your thinking and you enter into a decentrated state, the only thing left is your soul. So let your soul be present in this moment, knowing your Creator is embracing you as your desire is being fulfilled, to be one with your Creator in this meditative state, to improve your conscious contact with your God, understood by you. And this is just a moment to get in here. There's no judgment in meditation. It's just to get into a space where you can unwind your thinking. So I want you to listen for the silence between the sounds, to just unwind. So as you begin to feel your body get further and further away from this moment, your soul gets ever closer to your Creator and you become one now. As your desire is being fulfilled for having that communion with your God, as you understood it. That soul-to-soul communion, let your soul be free in this moment. Knowing that you're touching creation. This is where you ask and you shall receive, knock and it shall open. This is what those principles mean. It's in this realm that they're applicable. So when you ask for your Creator to be here, your Creator is with you now. It's not to be questioned, it's to be known. Be comfortable in your own knowledge of your Creator centering you, to the abilities you have to be aware of it right now. So that means never try and demonstrate where you're not at, and you don't have to be anywhere than where you are at with your Creator. And in that context, be held, be in your own light now. Let the light of your soul and God's soul become one. See it with your inner eyes. Hear the rhythms of God's music with your inner ears. The music of the spirits. Music that's beyond sound. Goes right to creation where it all begins. And we're going to enter into all idea now where there are no parts. And God's world is omniscient mind. And that's all knowledge and all idea where there are no parts anymore. You're just one in the stream of consciousness in this moment. And in that oneness, let yourself start feeling some healing for your own self. Be comfortable in this light, in this rhythm. Again, it's not to be judged. The fact that you've entered here, you're already embraced by your Creator. Just been waiting for you to reach out for that inner voice and those inner ears. As you decentrate even further and your thinking gets further away from this moment, feel like you're entering into that daydream state where you're no longer aware of your body. You're just kind of floating at this point with no particular aim other than to be one with your Creator. And knowing that you're one with your Creator is to contemplate the state of your Creator's mind. It would be defined as a perpetual state of ecstasy. Ecstasy is exceedingly content and fulfilled. So when your mind and God's mind, your God's mind, become one, you begin to understand the rhythm of exceedingly content and fulfilled beyond the body, but in your heart and in your soul. To know I'm rising above the three-dimensional world, to enter the fourth dimension, the realm of spirit, the realm of the soul, the flyer realm, inside you, not outside you. Centering you is God's omniscient light. You're connecting to it in this moment. So be comfortable in this moment. Feel yourself being healed by the union of your energy and God's energy. Your desire to have God's energy become one inside you. Own your own truth. Own your right to be one with your Creator. Understood by you, nobody else. And knowing that that represents omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent, which is the state of God for all of us. And as you're in this realm, this is the realm we find comfort. We need to find comfort in to improve our conscious contact. So acknowledge your own union with your Creator. Let your heart be full with the light of your own God inside you, centering you. Bridging that gap, there's nothing that stands in your way. Let yourself be connected to your source in this moment. Knowing that the source is a perpetual state of ecstasy. Ecstasy is to be exceedingly content and fulfilled in this moment. As God is centering me, I embrace God with all of my heart. And I give God my emotions. I give omniscient light that centers me, everything that I am, to feel that full connection of being one with the source of creation that's centering me. Becoming more and more familiar with creation that centers each and every one of us. With the creation that's centering you. That's your God. Be comfortable with your own God in this moment. And be free in your mind. As it decentrates to zero stillness now. Now we're going to desire zero stillness, which is zero thoughts. And it's just to be in the moment we're in. Be a part of everything and separate from nothing. And therefore we will have no thoughts. This is done by desire. So we're going to envision zero stillness. It might be a dark night sky. It might be a still pond that's not moving. The quiet, calm ocean. Whatever represents to you stillness. Let desire align you with the power of stillness in your Creator. Just to be still for a moment, letting all thoughts unwind. It's a timeless moment. It's not about time. It's about just zero stillness. It's achieved by desire. Desire what you want in this moment, and it shall stand before you. Desire to just be still, with zero stillness, zero thoughts. It's there for each and every one of us. It's a timeless moment. Exceedingly content and fulfilled. I am in my own light. Now let these words not just be words, but think of the meaning. The glory of God's light is all around us. It shines through us. It encompasses us. We are dissolved in God's light. God's light and your light have become one. Be immersed in your own light in this moment. God's light and your light have become one. Be immersed in your own light. And now you are in God's light, knowing God's light. And here we say, be with me now, one moment at a time, for the rest of my life. So I need never ever be alone again. And so it is. You never ever have to be alone again in your own mind. This is your Creator. This is your creation. Reaching to you. Touching you. Guiding you. The answers will come. Just trust. And be here now. Just retouch the perpetual idea of God's mind being in perpetual state of ecstasy, meaning exceedingly content and fulfilled. You have desired to become one with God's mind. Now you have become exceedingly content and fulfilled in this moment. There's no need for anything else in this moment. All right, come on back. All right, now meditation, as you come back, take note of your body. As you're waking up and you feel like, yeah, I entered the realm. And remember, meditation is not to be measured. It's not to be evaluated. Am I there? Am I not there? Ooh, I was there. Now I'm not there. It's a moment, and it's a timeless moment where you're with your Creator. Nobody else is your Creator, understood by you. And in that context, you can hit that like, please, if you would. Thank you. And in that context, it's taking a look at what does God mean to me, and that's what these steps are all about. These steps are designed to help us to come to believe in a power greater than ourselves that can restore us to sanity. But in order to get there, we got to get an idea of why in the world are we going to go into these steps, right? Just because I did drugs and alcohol, or you shopped, or you're a sex addict, or you did something freaky and your mind has become warped, or you're here just to heal your relationships, whatever it might be. The 12 steps represent something very important that I think it's all worth taking note of. Let's go to page 15, third paragraph. Start there. So see if someone wants to read that. It's like, what are these 12 steps? What are they here for? What do they mean? Why am I doing this? What the hell is this shit about? Man, I want to know what's going on before I do anything, right? Contempt, not prior to investigation. So let's do some investigation and see if we can get rid of any contempt. That means our mind's got to be open. That's one of the requirements in this program recovery. Step 2 talks about all you really need is a truly open mind. Third paragraph, page 15. Who wants to read that? Okay, start with Mike down. If you want to read, you're welcome to raise your hand and read. After the paragraph is read, anybody's welcome to share in that paragraph or ask questions on that paragraph. If you share, please make sure you stay in the paragraph we just read and talk about how to apply that principles in that paragraph in your life today, this day. It's all about principle application. Okay?
AA's 12 steps are a group of principles, spiritual in their nature, which, if practiced as a way of life, can expel the obsession to drink and enable the sufferer to become happily and usefully whole.
So, tell me something what this is. AA's 12 steps are a group of principles. A group has many components that make up a whole. So I found out that means that when I touch one, I touch them all. This is not a race. This is about quality, not quantity in recovery. So one principle is far more important than taking 10 and trying to decipher them all day long. It's telling me that it's quality, not quantity. So it's a way of life, meaning it's not something I do from 8 to 9:30 at night, or I do for a couple minutes here during the day, or I check in with God in the morning. At night, I thank God for being sober. This is something that's an ongoing way of life, something happening right now in this room, in this moment right now. And that methodology that's here, that's being laid out for each and every one of us, is derived from principles. And principles are very important. Principles are essential truths where all truths come from. You know mathematical principles. 1 + 1 is 2. That's a mathematical principle. These are spiritual principles, meaning you don't got to wonder if they work. They've been proven before you got here. So these principles have been put together. They're universally recognized principles. Let's take a look a little bit at how many people it can help. What can it help just outside of alcoholics and drug addicts? Very last paragraph of 15. Go ahead and read that now.
Many people, non-alcoholics, report that as a result of the practice of AA's 12 steps, they've been able to meet other difficulties in life. They think that the 12 steps can mean more than sobriety for problem drinkers. They see in them a way to happy and effective living for many, alcoholic or not.
Okay, now go. So it's telling me that this works for people non-alcoholic too. They see an effective way, alcoholic or not. Real important, because it's really something. There's a lot of things that come in recovery. When you get here, when you get into recovery, you're going to hear something. If you wake up and you realize you got a disease that needs treating, you're going to connect to something, a power greater than yourself, and you're going to feel something you haven't felt in a long time, which is now passion, emotions, a sense of life, a purpose of going somewhere, a zest. It's called spiritual awakening. And in essence, it describes it here on page 120, hold on one second, 105, I think we're at. 106, sorry. 106, it talks about what is it that I'm going to get out of this thing they call a spiritual awakening. You're saying I'm going to have a way of life, alcoholic or not. So what is it that I'm going to get? 106, last paragraph, is going to talk about what a spiritual awakening is. I contend that most people in this room has already had one. It's important to recognize so that you don't just throw away something you've already got. And recognizing spiritual awakening is not that difficult. So these words should give you a little insight about maybe how precious of what you do have that you don't want to take for granted. Go ahead.
Maybe there are as many definitions of spiritual awakening as there are people who have had them. But certainly each genuine one has something in common with all the others. And these things which they have in common are not too hard to understand. When a man or a woman has a spiritual awakening, the most important meaning of it is that he has now become able to do, feel, and believe that which he could not do before on his unaided strength and resources alone.
If you're an addict, alcoholic, or whatever it is you got going on, you're not doing that for a day or more. You've been able to think, do, and feel that which you couldn't do on your unaided strength before. So whatever your issue is, if you're getting along this road and you're now able to think, do, and feel that which you could never feel before, you're having a spiritual awakening. So it's important to recognize, because that means there's a power inside you. It's happening. And the worst thing that can happen is my mind will tell me it's not there. My mind will tell me I've lost it. My mind will tell me I'm not feeling it the same way I did before. Again, this is not to be measured. It's to be known. You have to know that there's a God in this world, a creator in this world, and you have every right to that creator as anybody else on this planet. Let alone when you're in pain and suffering, that's when you're supposed to reach out for it. There's a beatitude called, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for rich is their reward in the kingdom of heaven." This ain't about religion, but what it is talking about is about poor in spirit, representing, it's the poor in spirit, it's the poor people that always got philosophy, Christianity, Buddhism, whatever religion might be that have been saved. Why? Because they're not preconceived with ideas. So get rid of all that crap you think you need in this world and recognize if your soul is all right and you're passionate about what you're doing and you're creating, everything else will come. If the insides are right, everything else will follow. But many people will tell you if the outside looks right and the inside ain't right, it don't follow. It doesn't work that way. You're not going to get from the outside in. But from the inside out is the path you want to take on the spiritual way of life. So I'm trying to look what the hell is inside. The biggest thing it's going to talk about, we're going to sit here and talk about, is that realizing that I have something going on right now and I want to keep it going. Go ahead and go a little further.
He has been granted a gift which amounts to a new state of consciousness and being. He has been set on a path which tells him he is really going somewhere, that life is not a dead end, not something to be endured or mastered.
That right there, those two principles. Really interesting. So it's telling me life is not meant to be endured or mastered. It means I'm not going to figure it out and have it all laid out. I got it now, which you're going to try many times. Don't worry, we've all done it before you, and then you realize you don't got it. Me, you say you got it, that's when it's going away. But it's still not, I'm not here to master this life or endure it. But how many times have I endured a situation, or I'm waiting? You know, we grew up as children going to school, so don't worry, go to school, you'll like it later on. I know you don't like it now, but later on you're going to be really glad you did that. So it started postponed fulfillment a long time ago. All the commercials you see, all the advertisements, save, put your money away, and you too can retire and live in this life and do all this. It's like we're being told postpone fulfillment. You two suffer now, and later you'll be happy. And I just don't know how you're going to suffer now and later be happy. That doesn't might be a good principle. But to postpone, you know, I've been told that long enough. So you hear it, fake it till you make it, act as if. There's nothing in print that says anything about acting as if or fake it till you make it. But there is something that does say on 125 in relation to that principle of like, how do I do this even though I might be resistant, even though I might feel a little like regression, or I'm not so apt to want to do it. How do I get past all that? This paragraph will help you to understand a principle that's ethical in anything that you do. Go ahead.
125?
Yeah, last paragraph. Not that last, second last. These little studies.
These little studies of AA's 12 steps now come to a close. We've been considering so many problems that it may appear that AA consists mainly of racking dilemmas and troubleshooting. To a certain extent, that is true. We have been talking about problems because we are problem people who have found a way up and out, and who wish to share our knowledge of that way with all who can use it.
Okay, so it's important to help me to understand. It said that we're talking about dilemmas and troubleshooting because we're troubled people. You see, and troubled people are going to talk about problems. But sometimes you come in here and it's like, man, that's too intense. Like, I got to dig all into that stuff. You're missing the whole mark. It's not that intense. All the knowledge is inside you. This is just to awaken it up. So it's telling me something here that we're talking about problems. Don't get caught, oh, it's just problems, because that's another self-created lie, so I don't have to do it. So I had to start learning about what blocks me from taking that leap. What blocks me from grabbing hold of something and really going with it. Have you ever committed to anything in your entire life for longer than a year? Like something of depth, of a philosophy, or of God, or of church, or anything that you just committed, man. You were in no matter what, man. You're getting the things thrown at you, but you still go through it. I found out for me, I'd never really committed to anything in my life for any long period of time. I always bailed out. I always got to a point where like I didn't think it was working, so I just moved on to other things. And it was subtle in terms of that, how it happened. So it's about trying to stick in. Now this principle here, go ahead, the next part of that paragraph, talks about how do I go about doing that. Go ahead.
For it is only by accepting and solving our problems that we can begin to get right with ourselves and with the world about us, and with Him who presides over us all.
Now, there's a real interesting principle because you're going to confess, right? Admit to God, to ourselves, another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs, which means you're going to sit in front of somebody and say, this is all my crap, man. This is like this, I did that, this is my secret, this is that. And you know what happens after you get done doing that? Why it makes you one with man is because you found out, you've looked inside, and you've got flaws in there. And no longer are you ignorant to the flaws inside you. You're running around this life with your ego, running around thinking, you're this or you're that, picking on people or looking at people in a strange way to keep you from looking inside yourself. See, once you discover I got problems, I got issues, things that I need to look at and walk through, all of a sudden I become humble in mankind. I look at other people and I'm no longer finding fault with them, tearing apart my mind, because I just looked inside and realized, man, I got some holes. I have a total inability to form a true partnership with another human being. I've used drugs and alcohol and warped my mind, which means my instincts. We'll get into that in a second, which is not good. And so in other words, I'm a troubled human being, like you just said, a problem person, and now I'm asking for all these problems to be lifted and me just to have this grand life, not willing to do what it takes to do the work. So you'll find people that'll be sober, but they're just running around this AA program or the program being pretty miserable, unhappy, and you're going to find fault with that because they don't seem to be getting better. And there are a fraction of people that are going to do it. There's a substantial amount of people that are going to do it. Which one are you going to be? But there's going to be a few that are going to recover. There's going to be a few that are going to adapt this as a way of life. And I ask you this, what is your way of life if you don't have it? Tell it to me. Let's talk about it. Because I'll talk about my way of life, you talk about your way of life, and let's compare notes. Because you should have something. Shouldn't you, as a human being, like someone says, what's your way of life? What's your code of conduct? How do you operate? How do you live in this world? What do you, how do you treat people? You know, you got to have something to define. Oh, I treat people like bad because when you treat people bad, you get things back. I don't know. I treat people good because I get things back. There has to be a code, right? A reason, a way of life, something. And each and every one of us, we're deciphering how to live this day in the day we're in to the best of our ability, meaning you've done your best. And so if your best isn't giving you what you want, it's time to throw you out and put something new in. You've got to get something from the outside in you to awaken that omniscient light that's inside of you. That's usually a way of life. That's a methodology. Prior to 1939, we couldn't cure people like us. They didn't cure alcoholics and drug addicts. There was no cure. Less than 1% of us recovered. We end up in death in institutions. It's an amazing statistic because it was only in 1939, and that's not too long ago, before mankind developed a way of life to treat a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. The disease of alcoholism, not yet addiction, but it's here. And so to treat this hopeless state of mind and body, there's only one thing that's done it outside of religion. The religion, less than 1% of us have a white light experience. And if you haven't had a white light experience, you probably aren't going to have one. But if you have a white light experience, which is important to know, there are people in this life that have a surrender, they have a moment, and they are wiped clean. They seem to have a new way of talking, new way of thinking, feeling, and acting. They go off into missionaries usually. They want to go and do some service work like that. And that's usually a white light experience. Bill Wilson, the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, had a white light experience. He couldn't transmit that white light experience, but he knew that it was a major necessity to get people to recover. The spiritual angle had to come out. And so since he couldn't transmit it, this was all the frustration of these steps. They wrote the big book in 39, 12 steps were written before they were proven. They've changed just a couple words in step 3. Outside of that, there's been no changes. So that tells you there's something there. How does something get written before it's proven and then it works? It tells you there's probably something back in it. And then as years went on, about 11 years later, Bill Wilson knew that he had to get out to 12 and 12 because what he has a bunch of alcoholics, dry drunks, running around in untreated alcoholism and addiction, but they weren't drinking or using anymore, which is a real interesting point to look at. Which I found out for me, I can be the same man sober that I was when I was drinking and using. I just don't have the drunken behavior anymore. But I'm just as nutty. And the reason for that is because when you do drugs and alcohol, shop, get into ugly relationships, you hurt your instincts. And those instincts are something very important. Something we're going to take a look at here in the first paragraph, page 21, first steps. I'm going to talk a little bit about what you've done to your instincts. When you hurt them, when they get hurt, what happens? And the fact of it is that remember, you brought your best here, not your worst. So you've done your best. Your best is what you got. If you want something better, you're going to have to get something more than you to awaken that which is inside you. Okay? So that's so important to know that it's not about me. It's about getting away from me so that I can see the real me. So I can get honest and get real with people and say, you know what, man? I lie, I cheat, I manipulate, I deceive, I wear faces where I go. I look to manipulate people. I'm looking to work angles on that, and I don't want to live that way anymore. I don't want to tell any more lies. How can I do that one day at a time? But because I start with here in this first paragraph by recognizing I warp my mind with all the stuff you did, which you're more than welcome to do. You live in a universe that says take any action you want. But the universe reserves the right for reaction. So you can take any action, but reactions come. And that's not delayed. It's instantaneous. So meaning that when you do the drugs and alcohol, you get into those distorted moments that we can all imagine. They're extremely embarrassing that we want to forget. Those moments change you forever. They distort and disrupt your personality, your perception of life, and they change you forever. That's called a warped mind. This paragraph's going to talk a little bit about that. Go ahead. Who wants to read that? Go ahead, Dan.
Who cares to admit complete defeat? Practically no one, of course. Every natural instinct cries out against the idea of personal powerlessness. It is truly awful to admit that, glass in hand, we have worked our minds into such an obsession for destructive drinking that only an act of providence can remove it from us. No other kind of bankruptcy is like this one. Alcohol now become the rapacious
No, that's okay. Sorry, with the first paragraph. Anyway, in this particular part here, it's telling me every natural instinct cries out against the idea of personal powerlessness. That's why the first step says we admitted we were powerless over alcohol. Dash, there's a dash there, take note of that. Second thought, our lives become unmanageable. The thing we're going to look at is what it means to admit. Admit is something done with reluctance. It's important to recognize. That's what I was saying. Every natural instinct inside of you is going to cry out against the idea that you personally are powerless. That's not going to be on a conscious level because a lot of us go into recovery or treatment or wherever we're getting sober. It's like, I'm in, man. I'm an alcoholic, I'm a drug addict, whatever it is. I got issues and I don't want to do it anymore, and I'm willing to concede that. Still, inside you is still a fight that's not willing to give that up. You can't even detect that yet. So it tells us that we're dealing with elements in each and every one of us that's called the subconscious. Now, the subconscious is an interesting little area that we're talking about. We're going to come back to this. Just want to talk about what does the subconscious mean? What does that mean, that this subconscious stuff that we go into? Go to page 48, read the last paragraph there. This is going to talk to you about how every human being operates. What the instincts are, what the fears are, what the defects are, okay? And it's going to give it to you in that order form, and it's going to help you understand a little bit about conscious and subconscious fears and why we're triggered the way we're triggered and don't even know it's happened. Go ahead.
To avoid falling into confusion over the names these defects should be called, let's take a universally recognized list of major human failings. The 7 deadly sins of pride, greed, lust, anger, gluttony, envy, and sloth. It is not by accident that pride heads the procession, for pride leading to self-justification and always spurred by conscious or unconscious fear.
Stop there. It says, tell me, every time I act in pride or anything that comes up, guys, anytime you get into flaws, remember, it's spurred by conscious and unconscious fear. So whatever you're conscious of that you're afraid of or upset about, or what you're thinking is really wrong, remember, you're up against another part that's your subconscious that's not telling you what's going on. It's striking a chord that's gone on in your life, maybe your home, maybe some trauma that happened, created trauma memory, which you're acting in right now, so you're in an emotional state. You don't even know why you're in it. But bottom line is, when you take a human being and it gets injured, you warp that perspective. Nothing becomes unwarped. You ever seen a piece of wood get unwarped? Or a nail get unwarped? Nothing gets unwarped in this world. So remember, and they're telling you that glass in hand, drug in hand, whatever it is you did in hand, you warped your mind into such an obsession for destructive drinking, thinking, and acting that only an act of providence can remove it from you. Dash, my life is unmanageable by me for the rest of my life. I did my best. I got my shot. Didn't work. Now I need some help in my life. That help is going to be that power that you just meditated to. That's going to you're going to improve the conscious contact. And that power is now going to be your help to make your life manageable. You will not do it on your own, and yet you still have to discover that. You still have to go through these pains of seeing that warped mind, seeing that you are reluctant, you're not admitting defeat, you're still fighting with it, and then you're not accepting your devastating weakness and all its consequences. You don't have the passion for this program of recovery you think you have because you still have subconscious fears and subconscious troubles that are eking at you and really controlling your life. If you really think you control your life, then how come the conscious mind couldn't keep you out of here? Get it? So something else is happening, and it's not just you. It's every human being. It's not like you got the bad deal. We all create our own life and our own situation. You're here to learn. You're here to progress and grow, or stagnate and do nothing and come back and try it again. I don't know if you've noticed in life, but if you don't deal with a problem, it doesn't go away. It has a tendency to repeat itself. And the second time it comes around, it's tougher to get to. And the third time, tougher. So can you imagine all the times you haven't dealt with those issues that need to be dealt with? How far down are they stuffed? And if they're stuffed that far down, what do you think happens when you stuff all those emotions? They just sit there and just kick it. And, I'll just kill it. He said stuff it, so I'm just going to stuff it. You know what happens? I'll tell you what happens. I'll tell you exactly what happens. You're going to love this one, man. 47, last paragraph, will tell you what happened to you when you stuff those emotions. You become the victim. 47, last paragraph. If anybody wants to read, just grab the mic down. I'll hand it to you. If you want to read, go ahead, Damien.
To see how erratic emotions victimize us often took a long time. We could perceive clearly in others, but only slowly in ourselves. First of all, we had to admit that we had many of these defects, even though such disclosures were painful and humiliating. Where other people were concerned, we had to drop the word blame from our speech and thought. This required great willingness even to begin.
So it's a real important. Let's point forward. Blame. You didn't do that because someone else did that anymore. You did that because you did that. See, I got to take responsibility for who I am today. I acted that way because I acted that way. It doesn't matter what anybody else did. I'm not monkey see, monkey do anymore. I'm not living in that world. I'm not going to be a sheep. I'm learning to take responsibility for who I am And these victim erratic emotions is what happens. So when all these emotions come out and you can't control them, that's because you're stuffing that stuff. Stop stuffing it, and you start to learn how to manage them with a power greater than any human power. And that becomes the exploration. How much have you stuffed? How much stuff is lying inside you that you haven't dealt with that you think you got a line on? When you don't, how could you? You stuffed it because you couldn't deal with it then. What makes you think you can deal with it now? See, I didn't realize that. That stuff's all recorded in me, man. That's what dictates my behaviors. Have you ever noticed I'm not going to do that, and then you did it anyway? Especially when you're arguing with your counterpart, your significant other. I'm not going to say that because she's going to slap me if I do, but you say it anyway because you're pissed and you can't hold yourself back. Or you're in an argument with someone, you know you shouldn't say something, and you spit it out and you say it anyway. And then you look back, why did I say that? I knew I shouldn't have said that. I can't believe I just did that. Why did I do that again? If you've ever asked yourself why you did that again, it indicates to you there are things happening inside you that you don't know what's happening. You don't know why it's happening. So how are you ever going to know? Explore. You must know yourself. To thy own self be true. That's what these 12 steps are all about. They're going to expose you. The first 6 steps are going to expose to you who you really are. The second 6 steps are all designed to build a new character, no reference to the old. This is all about character. Step 7 illustrates some of that character. Let's go ahead and finish a little bit more of that. Actually, it's good. Just take blame from your speech and thoughts. So important. It's such an important part of this program recovery. And starting right now, no more blame for why I act the way I act, and not in my thought and nor in my speech. Now it's going to go on to tell me about character. Page 71, third paragraph, talks about character, how a new character is going to be born. And that's so important in this program recovery. So we aren't modifying the old you. You can't modify the old Casey. I brought a guy in here that will always have those elements within me. It's called the ism, not the wasm, when you relate it to alcoholism. Meaning that I'm sober, but I still have the ism. And as your founder wrote, it waits at my elbow to resume its destruction. One thought, and I'm back at that old character. One thought from instinct, and I'm acting from that old character. And if I give those thoughts emotion, they have power over me. That's what power is in step 2. The reason we came to believe in a power greater than ourselves is because we keep putting our emotions, which is power, on the wrong thoughts and wrong ideas, and then they get control over us because we lose power the minute you give it emotion. So starting to understand why I need to come to believe in a power greater than me is because the power that I was given, I didn't use appropriately. And since I didn't use it appropriately, it backfired on me. And now the lack of power is my dilemma. I lack the power to manifest the changes that need to happen inside of me. But the good news is, this is about you discovering a power greater than any human power inside of you, understood by you. That's why step 3 says, we made a decision to turn our will and our life over to carry God as we understood him, not understand him. It's understood by you, whoever you are. I can't give you God, but you can find God, and that's what these steps do. Note this. Each step takes you one step closer to your God of your understanding, understood by you. Each step, step 1 gets you one step closer. Step 1 is all about self-honesty to yourself. How bad's the damage, man? What went on here? I got to lay out my mind in the day I'm in to my advisor and talk about the thoughts that are going on in my life and how they're dictating me, how they're controlling me, how they might be wrong thoughts, they're dangerous thoughts, they're hurtful thoughts, they're hurting other people, they're hurting me. I'm in struggle a lot. I have a consistent state of anxiety. I'm a problem person because I'm thinking all the time. See, I got a mind that's not satisfied. It's been hurt, and therefore hurt. And what are the injuries? And this will tell you a little bit about the injuries, actually. First paragraph will tell you about how bad you're injured. Go ahead.
31?
Yeah, first paragraph.
Certainly no alcoholic, and surely no member of AA wants to deprecate material achievements. Nor do we enter into debate with many who still so passionately cling to the belief that to satisfy our basic natural desires is the main object of life. But we are sure that no class of people in the world ever made a worse mess of trying to live by this formula than alcoholics. For thousands of years, we were demanding more than our share of security, prestige, and romance. When we seemed to be succeeding, we drank to dream still greater dreams.
Stop there, Damon. See, that's the mind that's not satisfied. It's telling us. Go ahead, finish that up.
When we were frustrated, even in part, we drank for oblivion. Never was there enough of what we thought we wanted.
That's the riddle for the outside world. There's never going to be enough of what you think you want. That's the problem. That's how it all got atrophied. That's where the damage went down. We're trying to reach in the outside world to fill the inside world that we live in. We have inner ears and inner eyes, but they don't. It's not what you see anymore. It's your inner ears. Remember that. And your inner eyes. It's inner vision now. We're talking about your inner world, and now we're talking about that unmanageable life. How's your inner world now? Let's talk a little bit about that. How are you doing inside? What's going on for you right now? How's it weighing out? What's happening for you inside? Are your feelings good? Are your thoughts harmonious? Are you seeing good things in this room right now? Are you living in a good world? Are you living in a world where you're seeking good things, where you're looking for the light, where you're looking for good things to happen? Or are you on guard again? Are you living in a world where you're bracing, you're getting ready for something to go bad, you're getting ready for things to get ugly, you're getting ready for Freddy? See, I was always forecasting where I was going, man. This is coming, that's coming, I better get ready there. And as soon as you get there, none of that happens that way, but you spent all that time getting ready for Freddy. You don't live that way anymore. And then your past, how you doing with your past? You good with it? Are you sitting there right now going, hey, man, I was able to take all that stuff and convert it into assets and make me the man I am today? I'm so good with it. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to know? How you want to know how I grew through it? What I see, what things were transcended and transferred into an asset? Because that's what it's got to be. My past can no longer haunt me. So if you sit and you regret your past, or there's things you're thinking about yesterday that didn't go right, that you did wrong, the crossroads you hit, the deals you missed, the girl that messed you up, the guy that screwed you over, whatever it is, all those stories, the bad parents, the bad family, the bad relations, if you're regretful of your past, you know, and you're rehashing it all the time in your mind, you know, you relive it every time you rehash it. What else would it be, right? If I think about how a girl hurt my feelings 5 years ago, am I not going to feel those feelings of that person hurting my feelings? I may not feel them to the intensity of which it was 5 years ago, but I'm bringing them to this moment. See, I'm reliving them. And if you don't like your past, why would you want to relive it over and over again? So I'll ask you today, how many times do you think from yesterday's today? How many times do you think from yesterday's and you regretted what happened yesterday's? Some relationship, some business deal, or some social setting didn't go right, and you wish it did go right. See, that's what I'm starting to learn. I'm starting to learn I can't regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. That's what the promises talk about. How does one get there? I have to see how the past has been dictating my life, how those past traumas where I got injured, in fact, are controlling my behaviors today, right now, in this room. Right? Right now, right here. And that if I'm not accessing something greater than me right now, right here, then what I have to access is the guy I've been accessing all my life. And you don't want that guy up front right now. Mm-hmm. What you do want is a guy up here that's able to communicate with a power greater than itself at the same time that I can communicate with you. There is no separation anymore. So that's what step 3 is all about. You'll ask you might even wonder the question, how do I know the difference between God's will and my will? When you ask for God to be with you, there is no difference. Isn't that the way it should be? Shouldn't you be able to live today knowing I've asked God to be inside me, now I'm walking according to the will of God for my life? And I don't have to question anymore because there's no test. And there's no judgment of whether that God in my life is bigger, better, worse, or than yours. There's no measurement. You see, so when I ask God to be with me, I am with God today. And I have to live that way. Even though I'm going to make mistakes, I can go, you know what, God, help me learn from this. What would you have me learn from? I'm still including God in that thought. I had to learn to invite this power into my mind because it's worked. Because it got hurt. It got hurt so bad that it changes things. It got hurt so bad that it's telling me this is the character I am. Let's finish this paragraph on 71. First paragraph. Go ahead.
It's the next verse.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Dan.
In all these strivings, so many of the well-intentioned are crippling handicap has been on lack of humility. We have lack of respect for the seed of character building and spiritual value had become.
There's that word, character building. Go ahead, David.
And that material satisfaction is not the purpose of living. Quite characteristically, we've gone all out and confused with the end of the meaning.
So if you think you haven't, you're going to know what you have, because everybody does. That's the riddle of existence, right? Is my body me? But if you go look in the mirror, can you point to anywhere in your body where you're at? Think about it. You got a mirror in front of you right now. I'm standing there on the side of the mirror and saying to you, point in your body where the hell you're at. Where are you at? So where you are is a soul. What you are is your mind. And then I say to you, okay, if you can't point to where it's at, then it must be measureless, right? Would you anybody witness their soul lately on a Polaroid or anything like that? I'm not talking about Aura cameras either. I'm talking about being able to see your soul. I know I've never been able to see it with my eyes, but I know I have one. And I know that because the way I talk to you, whoever you are, and when I talk to you, whoever you are, I get to know you. You see, and the you isn't your left leg or your arm. It's you, inside you. It's all that knowledge, all those experiences. That's what I get to know. So when I do find someone I get to know, I couldn't point to where you're at in that body. I'd say your energy, your whole consciousness. I know your energy. I know when you're off. I know when you're on. But I don't know when your body's off or on. I can see your body, but it has unlimited effects, none that I could know of. So it teaches me something in life. Whatever you can see, you will never know. And whatever you can know, you will never see. You can know God, but you can't see God. You can know me, but you can't see me. Just like I can know you, but I can't see you. Because your body's not you. You get it? So if I can't see me, and it also tells me the glass in hand, I warp my mind, or my brain, if you will. I had to learn that you can weigh my brain, but you can't weigh my mind. Now we're going to talk about your mind for a second. Your mind representative of your soul, not two different parts, but all one. Centering that mind is that omniscient light, with all knowledge, all power, and all presence. How do we get there? How does one human being get there for another? They say spiritual principles awaken that. You got to live on a metaphysical level. You got to live in a spiritual world. So in a spiritual realm is where we start to contemplate things. In a spiritual world, should money compromise character? In other words, if someone gives you money, should you lower your standards or compromise your character? Absolutely not. That's why I say character building and spiritual values have to come first today. Material satisfactions can't be the final end and aim in life. You don't sell out anymore. Matter of fact, your values and your character building come first now. They're paramount. That's what true humility is. I live according to values now, whether I get what I want or not. I live according to truth, to my truth, of what's right for my life. Go to page 72, read the first paragraph there. It's going to tell you what you need. You need some values.
This lack of anchorage and permanent values is blindness to the true purpose of our lives. Produce another bad result. For just so long as we were convinced that we could live exclusively by our own individual strength and intelligence, for just that long we were working faith in a higher power impossible.
Now, why is it impossible? I'm going to say, David, it's impossible because I don't have anchors to a value system, a methodology, a paradigm, something that says, Casey, live this way, don't live this way anymore. Here's where you go wrong, and here's where you go right. No gray area. So that means that that lack of anchors to a value system keeps me from a power greater than myself. Some people find it through religion, some people find it through Buddhism, whatever philosophy they might find it. This is telling me if you don't have an anchors to a value system, something that's going to give you a step-by-step process of that spiritual experience, then the odds are you're probably not going to come to believe in a power greater than yourself, and that's going to help you to live this life. Or just think, these steps are offering to you a way to live where drinking and using isn't necessary anymore. Where your relationships are so good you can't wait for them to get better. Where the world you live in is a world when you don't think you get any better, and your Creator will blow you away and put something in your life that'll just blow yesterday away. We're talking about happily and usefully whole. We're not talking about mastery, but we're talking about living a joyful life. That's what we're here for. This is not about, hey man, you're mandated to go to meetings for the rest of your life. I've never seen it written anywhere in the book. You got to go to meetings. Never. But it's projected by human beings because human beings are scared. You got to find your truth in this way of life. Doesn't that make sense? That if it's understood by me, it's a power greater than me, within me, then that power is going to guide me to my truth. You may need to go to meetings one day at a time for the rest of your life. It isn't if or. And you see, it isn't one or the other. You got to find your path. We all have a path. This way of life offers to you whatever you want. You can take a little bit or you can take a lot of it. What it's going to do is add character to your life, values to your life, principles that you're going to live by. And again, I ask you, what are your values? What are your principles? Or what are the ethics that you live by right now? And you should have a good long list of an order form of how they operate for you, how you apply them, and how they bring you to that fruitional place where you are, in fact, happily and usefully whole. And if that can't be described, then maybe you want to consider what's being talked about here. And that's what I did. I came here and I thought, man, you just got to go to meetings the rest of your life. I looked at you people. You know, you look good for 90 days, but after that, you didn't look so good anymore. I realized you were the broken ones. And then I realized I'm with you. And so, therefore, I realized this society is full of broken people. There's going to be people doing erroneous things around here. There's going to be people making mistakes, doing wrong things, people getting loaded, going in and out. 95% of everybody in this room will not stay sober longer than 5 years if you are in here for sobriety. 95% of you will not stay sober longer than 5 years. Which one are you going to be? And it isn't just about being sober. Remember that. It's just a statistic. Why not? What's missing? Why aren't we staying sober longer? Why isn't it becoming a way of life for anybody and everybody more? Because I contend there's a message that's missing, the message that's in print. You have to read. I had to learn to read this. I had to be taught how to read these words. They're words. I understand language. I know how to read English language, but I don't know what these words mean in application to my mind in the moment I'm in to manifest a character change. That's something different. You're telling me I got to take these words, not just read them. I got to contemplate them, not just work. What does a warped mind mean to you today? Not somebody else's warped mind, your warped mind. What's your warped mind look like? Nobody else's. That's what you're educating yourself on. What are your instincts? How have they gone astray on you? That's what you're educating yourself on. Go ahead and finish that up.
This was true even when we believed that God existed. We could actually have religious beliefs which remained barren because we were still trying to play God ourselves. As long as we place self-reliance first, a genuine reliance upon a higher power is out of the question. The basic ingredient of all humility, a desire to seek and do God's will, is missing.
So now it's a question of how do I get there? The desire to seek and do God's will. One, I learned that God's inside of me, that not some church. It's not about Christianity. This is not about religion. This is about spirituality. It's about you coming to believe in a power greater than you, understood by you. It's so important. And you're going to build it with those three principles I started off in meditation. You're going to build it by practicing the omnipresence first. And as you practice the presence of your Creator, you're going to start to know things you didn't know before. Let's get a little bit into what's going to motivate you to do that, though, because that's the biggest kicker. Page 21, fourth paragraph, talks about, now I'm going from admit to accept in 4 paragraphs. So something's being built. The character starts in step 1 in paragraph 1. A new character is being built. First part of this paragraph, I'm realizing, in the first part of the step, I'm realizing I'm becoming aware that I'm admitting I'm powerless over drugs and alcohol, meaning I'm doing it with reluctance. So what I'm going to start to look for, where am I reluctant in this deal? Where am I just wearing a face again? Where am I not giving 100%? That's what I'm going to start to look for, and I'm going to start to look for injured thoughts, warped thoughts in the day that I'm in. Now this 4th paragraph is going to tell me something very important. Go ahead.
With a little good can come to any alcoholic who joins AA, unless he has first accepted his devastating weakness and all its consequences. Until he so humbles himself, his sobriety, if any, will be precarious. Of real happiness he will find none at all, proved beyond a doubt by any immense experience. This is one of the facts of AA life. The principle that we shall find no enduring strength until we first admit complete defeat is the main taproot from which our whole society is sprung and flowered.
So that's kind of good news. It's saying the more I admit defeat, the more stronger I'm going to become. Go back to the 3rd paragraph now on 21, and let's take a look at what that means. It means the more I admit defeat, the stronger I'm going to become. 3rd paragraph 21.
Upon entering AA, we soon take another view of this absolute humiliation. We perceive that only through utter defeat are we able to take our first steps towards liberation and strength. Our admissions, personal powerlessness, finally turn out to be firm bedrock upon which happy and purposeful lives may be built.
Take note, it says admissions, pluralized. That means it's never done. It's not your admission of personal powerlessness. It's your admissions. That means ongoing. It's a way of life. Again, I'm always learning and always ready to say, you know what, God, I'm taking it back. I'm sorry. You know what I'm taking it back? I'm upset. I'm angry. I'm pissed off, or I'm getting moody, or I'm swinging the wrong way, or I'm thinking I'm not where I should be. Let me tell you something. Either you're right where you should be at this moment in your life, or nothing makes sense at all. Which one do you want? That's what I had to start living in. I had to realize I'm here for a reason. I'm here to find something important for my life. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. That's what I asked for. I asked for some purpose in my life, and that's where we're starting to get here now. But it's telling me you're not going to have any kind of happiness until you accept your devastating weakness and all its consequences. What if stone cold sober, this disease could take your soul without your consent? What if stone cold sober, your trauma, your ailment, whatever it is you have, can take your soul without your consent? Would you not consider that devastating? I would. Something takes my soul, stone cold soul. I'm not doing drugs or alcohol. I'm not even messing around anymore. And it takes my soul without my consent. I haven't authorized it. That's what anger is. That's when you're getting upset, when you're worried about tomorrows. Something's taking your soul without your consent. When you're looking at your yesterdays and you're in regret, you don't like what's happened, you think your parents, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever it is in your life, screwed you over one more time, or they took you the wrong way. That's regret. That's, again, an unmanageable life by me. That's me not accepting my devastating weakness. That's pretty devastating that I got to go backwards, and I can't settle with it. I can't be okay with it. Every time I rehash it, I get upset. I'm perturbed, and I get resentful one more time about the world that I'm living in, the people that are in it, because I can't settle with my past. Because if I could settle with it, I wouldn't relive it and try and undo it. I would accept it for exactly what it is, find the assets that are there, and move on, which is what you're supposed to do in life, which is what this way of life is going to show you. Let's look at all this stuff. We're going to look at it all, and we're going to say, look, stop bitching, stop moaning, stop blaming, stop complaining. This is all stuff you created. Now what do you want to do with it? Do you want to keep letting it dictate your life, or you want to learn to let it go? To move on and stop letting it dictate your decisions today. Be free. Don't let your past be your future. In order to do that, you've got to come out of it with an asset. You've got to come out of it with a story that works for you. And if everything led you up to this moment that you're in right now, And you're being handed something that says you're on, which we read in step 12, you're going somewhere. You're on a path that leads you somewhere. The life is not to be mastered or endured. You're actually on a path that's leading somewhere. You're having a spiritual awakening right now. Would you really want to throw that away? Or would you want to grab hold of that a little more and go further with it? See where you can go with it. Because I'll ask you this right now. How many windows have you had for change in your life? How much have you wanted to change? And how many real windows came up, which are called circumstances, usually for people like us, that you were willing to look inside and maybe consider change? How many times? They're small, man. And they come in life in little segments. You can't predict where they're going to come. You don't know where they're going to come. So if you don't act on a surrender, you're just lost out. And if you think another one's going to come, I'd like to have you tell me when. And give me the date, and I'll be there to watch, because if it comes, man, I want to be applauding you big time. So I realized, there's only so many windows where I'm willing to change. Man, I better capitalize on this. I better keep this window open. How do they do it? They say, by accepting my devastating weakness and all its consequences. The consequences, so I'm very interested. What are the consequences of something taking my soul without my consent? Maybe one of the consequences is I'm attracted to it. Maybe I like going back and being regretful. Maybe I like looking at you cross-eyed. Maybe I like when I can get a little pissed off and think about somebody who screwed me over, and so now I'm going to screw you over to get back for that. But I'm not thinking that. But maybe I like that little energy of feeling a little superior to you and being able to chop you up in my mind and tear you apart and think and find fault with you and find failures with you and look at your life and maybe even pop some Swiss cheese in it if I feel like it, because I'm so powerful, because I can be so destructive. Imagine that, a sense of power from being destructive. Is that true power? I don't think you should feel a sense of power, but thus must tell me that I must have had some injuries. If I felt a sense of power from hurting other people, there must be something I probably should look at. Shouldn't I feel a sense of power from helping, from doing good things in life? That's a sense of power, true power. To hurt people is not powerful. I don't think it is. I think it's called destructive. And there's a reason for it, because the more I hurt you, the less I have to look at me. The more I look at you and your feelings and what's going wrong with you in your life, the less I have to look inside. But if I no longer blame you, in my thought and speech, I no longer look at you. Matter of fact, I can look at you like a piece of glass and wish you everything you want in your life. I can know you're doing your best, because that's what I have to give myself. And I can look through you like a piece of glass, and you never have to change for me. The reason you never have to change for me anymore is because I've learned to change. I will change myself to meet conditions, because that's what it tells me this program recovery can do to me. And it tells me my whole problem in life had been the fact of my unwillingness to change. I kept trying to change conditions. Step 4 talks a little bit about changing those conditions. Take a look at that. 47, first paragraph. It's all about conditions now, how I tried to change them and how it didn't work. So what does work? This will help me.
Without conditions, goes to drink. And we tried to correct these conditions and found that we couldn't to our entire satisfaction. Our drinking went out of hand and we became alcoholics.
Here's the solution. Go ahead.
It never occurred to us that we needed to change ourselves to meet conditions, whatever they were.
Now that's power, right? I'm no longer living in a world that says, man, you got to change. And if I'm bitching at the freeway, then I'm saying the freeway should change. If I'm bitching at the way you're operating in the grocery store, the bank, whatever department you're in, then I'm saying you should change. If I'm bitching about the way you've done something, then I'm saying you should change. Now we're going to go into close personal relationships. And when you're finding fault with those, when you go home and with the ones you love, and you look at them with disgust, knowing they love you, and you tear apart. You're looking at the things they do wrong. You hardly ever uplift them. You hardly ever say anything positive. You can't even recognize in that moment what God says to you. You might even see him look good in a moment, but you don't know how to utter it because you didn't realize that's your inner voice saying, say it now. And I didn't listen. I didn't know how to listen to that inner voice and let it guide me so that I intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle. So I found out for me that I need to change myself to meet conditions. In order to change myself to meet conditions, I got to find out what am I up against that keeps me from changing. And it's telling me I'm up against a devastating weakness and all its consequences. Page 22, first paragraph, tells me it's a double-edged sword. I'm smitten by an insane urge, meaning I get an idea of wanting to do something, and once I do that something, whatever it is, I'm condemned by a physical allergy to destroy myself in the process, right? So insane urges to drink. Once I get the alcohol in me, I have no control of that drink anymore, and now I've lost control once I start the alcohol. That's the physical allergy coupled with the mental obsession. Double-edged sword. Take alcohol and drugs out of it. You ever want lust for a woman or a man and want to be with them and then have that feeling of wanting them just like a drug or alcohol? And then it's a double-edged sword. You're smitten by an insane urge that you want them, and then a physical allergy if you start giving it power to ensure yourself in the process, meaning to lower your standards, to compromise your integrity, to get the things you think your body wants just because you're lusting after someone. So it kind of goes in every area of life. So we're looking at the double-edged sword in every area of life. Mental obsession, physical allergy. You get angry. it's a mental obsession. Doesn't seem like it is, but it is. What's the physical allergy of getting angry? What happens when you get angry? Who said hangover? Blood pressure, you're all messed up. So let's take a look at what that says in step 10. What happens when we get angry? Why can't we get angry anymore? 88, last paragraph.
Aren't these practices joy killers?
One more down. All the way down, actually, when he's drunk. Last paragraph.
When a drunk has a terrific hangover because he drank heavily yesterday, he cannot live well today. But there is another kind of hangover which we experience whether we are drinking or not. That is the emotional hangover.
Ah! Go ahead.
The direct result of yesterday's and sometimes today's excesses of negative emotion, anger, fear, jealousy, and the like. We would live serenely today and tomorrow. We certainly need to eliminate these hangovers.
Stop there. So that's enough, right? So tell me the reason I can't get angry. Well, why? I don't say just don't get angry. You know why I don't want to get angry? I don't want the hangover. You're not worth it, whoever you are. Even if you piss me off to the nth degree, you are not worth my emotional hangover. Because that emotional hangover is a bitch, man. I don't know when it's going to go off. It lowers my consciousness, and I'm not as sharp as I should be because I'm drained and I don't have the energy and I walk around in life. So when you get into that low spot, you're not in an emotional hangover. You're in a chronic emotional hangover. You see, they don't just happen one time. Imagine now we're looking at anger, fear, jealousy, and the like. How many times you've been in anger, fear, regrets, resentment, vengefulness, bitterness? How many times you've been in that state of emotion? And it's telling you, check it out. You can go there every time you want, but the reaction to that action is called an emotional hangover. How many times you've been in ill feelings, and think about the hangovers that come with them, right? So if I'm sitting there stewing it, that's why I get into 2-week, 3-week, month, 2 months, 6 months depression. Because I've been stewing in so much crap for so long, half of it I don't even know I'm in, and now I'm in an emotional hangover, and I'm in a perpetual state of emotional hangover. Plus, once you get there, check it out, you just keep making it worse because you feel worse, right? You feel bad, so now you're going to make it worse. The hangover is just going to keep coming and coming. And that's that spiral they talk about that we get out of control. We don't know why it happened. So what in the world can be happening in that context? It tells me that there's something going on, page 50, first paragraph, that I need to come to the conclusion of.
By now, the newcomer has probably arrived at the following conclusion.
Stop there. Every one of us is newcomers, right? There isn't anybody here that shouldn't look at themselves as newcomers. 23 years in this deal, and I'm still just scratching the surface, and I remain there. I have so much to learn still. You never want to think you got this. So we're all newcomers. And it's telling us we should have arrived at these conclusions by now. Go ahead.
His character defects representing instincts gone astray have been the primary cause of his drinking and his failure at life.
Okay, that's a hell of a code, man. That's a formula. That's like Einstein's theory right there. Someone break that down for me, would you? It's just a sentence, right? It says that the primary cause of my drinking and failure at life is a result of my character defects that are a representation of instincts gone astray. That's it. Character defects are nothing more than a representation of instincts gone astray. So if you keep chasing character defects, how long will you chase them if you don't treat the instinct? Forever. And defects are unlimited. How many instincts do we got? 3. Who said 4? 4 is right. It's not bad. Emotional and security. So sex, security, and society. Security is emotional and material. So that's where the 4th would come in. Is that what you're thinking? Good. So, but they represent as 3. Sex, security, and society. So that means every time you've acted out sexually, distortion, that patterns itself in your whole body. Sort of like a drop of ink going into a clean bucket of water every time. It never leaves you. When you pattern yourself with someone, it's electrical interchange, like 2 battery cables coming together. Think of those battery cables. You don't think they've mixed? Once you mix with someone, you don't unmix. So you take on all their energy. Now sex starts to have a little bit of different meaning to it when you realize I'm taking on that person's all their energy. You mean everything they've ever done? Yep, everything you've ever done, you're taking on. It's an electrical interchange. A battery doesn't just partially interchange with another battery when you put 2 jumper cables together, does it? It's a full-on interchange, baby. It's left, right, male, female, doing their thing, right? And if it's an 8-volt to a 12-volt, what happens? Boom, the 12 doesn't. Now imagine that with your thinking. You get it? If you're not in rhythm, if you're not in harmony, you're with the wrong people. They're called toxic people in life. They aren't your energy level. They don't have the same frequency you do. Everybody's got a number, man. You walk around with people with the wrong battery size, you're just shorting your stuff out all the time anyway. You get with the right batteries, now you've got synergy, and you can really jump some engines. No pun intended. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. All right, so now we're going to look at this and saying, hey, dude, you're so out of whack. Instincts are stressed. So if you give another person with warped instincts, what the hell kind of mess you think you 2 people can make? Right? So I'm trying to get around people that are of a frequency that I'm trying to either get to or at. I'm no longer looking for lower frequencies. It's not a judgment. It's just there's certain areas I can't demonstrate in. And I'm not immune anymore, man. I'm weak. We are the weakest ones. We get hurt the easiest. Man, we've been through it. So that's why we're sensitive. You think, I go to jails, man. I talk to the jail. I've been there. I've been on the street, man. And I'm telling you, from the streets, it's tough. I'm not more resilient. I'm more sensitive. I'm more impossible to hurt. And I got trauma inside there. You don't get tougher. You go to those jail guys, they aren't tough. They're hurt. That's what the whole image is about. The more image, the scared I am, the harder it is. You take scar tissue. I got a big old scar right here, boy. You cut this scar, and it'll take months and months and months to heal. You cut the skin next to it, it'll be healed in a week. So again, I ask you, the more you've had done to you, the more scar tissue you've taken on, you tougher or are you weaker? Thank you. The strong ones, the ones that ain't had no thing in their life. They can walk through stuff that we sit there and go, how'd you do that, man? I just did it. What do you mean you just did it? What's your method? What do you mean method? I just lived that way. There are people that have lived a good life. They just started out that way, man. And they live a good life. I know what's sick and I know what's wrong. I do. I really do. It's not right, man. But I'll tell you, one equalizer is if you go up to them and ask them, say, how do you do it? They go, I don't know. I just do it. But if you come and ask me how I do it, I can show you how you can do it too. You see, that's important. Transmitting what you've got, being able to transmit what you got. But you can't transmit something you haven't got. Any one of us can have this at any level. I'm telling you, it's not here for just anybody. It's here for all of us. This is stuff that I'm starting to recognize. Go ahead and figure this. So it says, newcomer has realized his defects are nothing more than a representation of instincts gone astray. Bearing in mind, instincts are subconsciously motivated behaviors, so now we're in the subconscious realm. We're not in the conscious realm anymore. We're in the subconscious. So it's telling me my defects are a representation of subconsciously motivated behaviors gone astray. Subconscious instincts that are out of whack. My sex instinct is out of whack, security instinct is out of whack, and my society instinct is out of whack. It's been hurt. And if it's out of whack, now I got to figure out how does it drive me? What ways does it drive me? You read in step 7, it said, character building and spiritual values got to come first. Material satisfaction can't be the final end and aim in life. It's saying, dude, you sell out for material satisfactions. And until you grow through that, you won't stop selling out. So you've got to accept it. Don't say you don't, you do. We all do. That's why we're here. See, we didn't get to spiritual, but we can at least transmit what we've got. So the bottom line is, go ahead and finish this paragraph. Look a little further than that.
Unless he is now willing to work hard at the elimination of the worst of these defects, both sobriety and peace of mind will still elude him.
That's a lot. Well, sobriety and peace of mind. Remember that. Sobriety and peace of mind. Sobriety is one thing, man, but just being sober ain't good enough. I'm telling you right now. You just, man, I was in the mall today and I pulled a guy's car and I grabbed his neck. I choked him. I didn't kill him. Didn't go to jail, and I didn't drink it. And I'm sorry. I'm here to meet tonight to tell you all about it. I made a mistake, but I didn't drink. So I'm a winner. Man, that ain't sounding like a winter story to me. Man. It just did. When are you going to stop behaving that way? When are you going to stop trying to fool people? When are you going to stop fighting with the world? When are you going to stop being in such resentment? When are you going to quit debating with everyone? Why you got to argue with everyone? Why can't you just let people be what they are? Why you got to judge it, man? Why you got to put your mind in it? You got so much stuff inside of you. How can you even afford to look at another human being again? With the first step, when it's explained properly, man, I realized I got no business looking at anybody, and I don't have time. I need to be in my life with my power greater than me full time. I don't have the time that I used to waste in my mind in your head. I used to look at you and think about what you were thinking, and then I captured in my mind what you were thinking, and I would respond to what you were thinking. You hadn't told me what you're thinking, but I do think I know what you're thinking. I'm responding to it in my mind, and then I physically respond to it. You're looking at me like, hey, and I go, what's wrong with you? What's up? You looking at me, you got a problem? What's up with you, man? Because I think you're looking sideways at me. I think if there's two people in the corner, you know who they're talking about? Me. You're damn right it's me, because I'm so important. And that's why they say, why are you so important in your life? Why is it always about you, man? I don't want to go there. I don't want to do that. I did that last time. I've been there. When am I going to shut up with the eyes? When am I going to go with the flow for the first time in my life? The first 3 steps are all about, it's a bitching process, man. You're going to build a foundation for your life. In step 1, you're going to get self-honest to self. No more lying to you. That's the most important thing. You take yourself as you are. No more judging you either. No more fault-finding. No more condemning. And you're going to learn how to love yourself. That's step 1. Step 2 is you're going to come to believe in a power greater than you. No one's going to push religion on you. No one's going to shove anything down your throat because it can't. It just needs to be a power greater than you. It needs to make sense. Well, no, it makes sense because you live by spiritual principles. And that process means you're going to now have a power that you're going to have a personal relationship with, understood by you, no other human being, and you're going to be able to give it a name but not till step 3. Not till you have the personal relationship first. That was step 2 is all about. You come to believe in a power greater than yourself. It's all about a personal relationship that you're starting to have with that omnipresent mind. The omnipresence of creation and God centering each and every one of them. That's what it's about. How do I do it? God, can you be with me now? I don't know how to talk to you. I don't know what you look like, seem like. Man, I've had to struggle with this all my life, but they tell me that I got to get in touch with you. And this advisor told me that all I had to ask was for you to be in my mind. And would you be in my mind now, please? And the minute that I made that petition for that power to be in my mind, and just as I did right now, it immediately quiets you down. It always settles you in. That's called sanity. Sanity is defined as soundness of mind. If you want a sound mind, invite God into your mind. You know, an average human being has 70,000 thoughts a day. Even in non-alcoholic, non-drug addict, non-bad relationship, non-sex act, whatever world that's out there, there might be 1 or 2 human beings left that don't have an issue. Even in that world, you know, they have to learn to understand the way they're living in their life and how they're operating as a human being and how they can conduct themselves in this world. And in other words, they have to realize that at that level, they can still hurt their life. But very few of us don't have some distortion somewhere, some injury somewhere, some trauma somewhere. And therefore, that trauma that's in each and every one of us, if it isn't exposed, then I'm at the mercy of it. And if it isn't considered and looked at how it operates inside of me, then I'm at the mercy of it, because it's telling me this stuff exists below the level of your consciousness, man. You're not even conscious of this anymore. That's what these steps do. They weed it out, right, from the consciousness. So how do I get this power inside of me? How do I come to believe it's like tea? God, will you be with me now? It's like dipping that tea bag in the water. And the longer that tea bag stays in the water, the more tea gets in that water, right? It saturates in there. So like God be with me now, the more petitions I make, the more invitations, the darker the tea. And then as I started to realize I was asking God to be with me, and I wasn't having to think about it anymore. I was just automatic now. Just like they said it would be. I would build a character that would actually be reaching out for power greater than self to restore to sanity, soundness of mind right now, one moment at a time, and that I was going to come to believe in it by asking that power, and then I was going to relate to that power in this area they're talking about now when I wasn't even knowing it. So now we're talking about the subconscious. How do we access it? Over and over of repetition. Wouldn't that make sense? I got to ask God to be with me. Ask God to be with me on a conscious level. You got 3 parts of the brain. You got the frontal cortex, the midbrain, and the visceral. Okay? The visceral is home. That's where the instincts lie. That's where every one of your issues lie. All the stuff that's happened to you when that trauma happens, it went right to the visceral. And it's stuck there. This is the midbrain, and this is the frontal cortex. This is where you make all your decisions. This is conscious mind right here. Conscious mind, I had to make an effort in step 2. God, I don't know what you are, be with you. And like I said, all of a sudden I realized I was talking to God without having to think about it anymore. And that's when I really felt some soundness, some sanity. Like, man, I got this power. And as soon as I found out that I was talking to God without having to think about it anymore, even though I was still thinking about it all the time, I'm ready for step 3. I'm ready to give that power a name, because now I'm talking to it without having to think about it anymore. It's got to be God for my life now. You see, that's the transition. God is here, and God's here doesn't work. God's got to get here. Once God is here, you can give it a name. And that's what step 2 is all about. Does that make sense? Because I'm in the way. See, I got to get past my frontal cortex. Then the midbrain is where all emotions are. Emotions are just a byproduct of your thoughts in the day you're in. I had to learn something. Thoughts are just thoughts until you give them energy. Stop giving your thoughts so much energy. They're just thoughts. If you don't want them, get rid of them. Ask your Creator to give you a new one, a better one that does fit with you. That's as simple as that. But I never once knew that it would be time that I should kick some thoughts out of my head, that there were things going across my consciousness that did not belong, until I looked at step 1, first paragraph, and I said, okay, God, what's this warped mind they keep talking about? They say I'm a self-talker. I have a fault-finding mind. I mean, I find fault with anybody or anything. I'm a self-talker means I'm talking to me all day long. I talk to me. You've been talking to you while you've been sitting in that chair right now. While you're listening to me, you're still talking to you. How much have you been talking to you? How much have you heard tonight? How much have you been here? Do you lack the power to be here right now? Because I did. I was sitting really like this. I'd get maybe 5 minutes of it in. And the rest of it, I'd be in my head, car, wheels, need a new engine, I don't know, I got to fix the board, whatever, something, girl, guy, whatever, something on my head. But I couldn't be here. When I first got here, I had to learn to ask God, help me to hear. Help me to hear what you would have me hear for my life. You can't hear for your life what you need if you don't ask for it. How could you? What do you think? It's just going to come on a silver platter? Hey, this is what you need. Soak this up, man. Go ahead. This is good. If you don't ask for, ask, you shall receive. Knock, and it shall open. These are the kinds of things. They're doorways that have been let open to us, but unfortunately, religion's got a lot of bad connotation to it, and a lot of people who get here don't sit well with religion until they get here, change character, and as it says in here, go back to religion now, and you'll find a different way of approaching it. Because you found what it really means to come to believe. You found what it really means to make a decision. But this isn't about religion. You got to remember that. This is about spirituality. And this is about a psychic change. Step 12 says, having had a spiritual awakening. That's a psychic change. That means a new way of thinking, feeling, and acting. You're not the same person anymore. You're going to build a new character, but it's the character you've always wanted to be. But in order to become that character, you got to find out and expose and become aware of the character that you are by yourself that's been flawed, that has instincts that are defects of character or representation of your instincts gone astray. Now let's take a look at instincts for 1 second before we go any further. Go to page. You know what? Does anybody got any questions? Want to talk on that?
I'm Bill. I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Bill.
I've always been
Can you add a mic?
and that statistic was Bill alcoholic.
Hey,
I've
Bill.
always been intrigued by this statistic we just put on about that maybe 20 minutes ago. And it's a sobering one. Is that when I think it's more than one, and it's 95% of us who would have a problem with alcohol and not going to make it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, that is just utterly, to me, it's just, I wouldn't even hate to repeat it. Just doing it.
Means something's missing. It means I believe that something's not being presented for a long time. I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and said, man, where the hell did you get all that from? It's in print, man.
And
How'd you learn to print so well? I studied it because it's a way of life. I was told what it was. That's what I did. And I never knew how to read it. I got a 7th grade education, just so you know. No more than a 7th grade education. I stopped going to school in 7th grade. All right, so go to page 42, read the second paragraph there. This is the instincts. So let's say, okay, now we got instincts. What the hell are they? This will help you to realize how impactful are they? How do they affect you? Not just me. And remember something, you can see instincts in other people. Ask to see them. What is it? Just look, sit someone you know and take a look and go through their instincts. What's their sexual instinct feel like? What's their security instinct feel like? Material and soul and emotional. And what's their social instinct like? And you really know people around you. You know their instincts, and you'll start to learn a lot more by just considering those factors. Go ahead. 42, second paragraph. 4-2.
42. Yet these instincts, so necessary for our existence, often far exceed their proper functions. Powerfully, blindly, many times subtly, they drive us, dominate us, and insist upon ruling our lives. Our desires for sex, for material and emotional security, and for an important place in society often tyrannizes us. When thus out of joint, man's natural desires cause him great trouble, practically all the trouble there is.
This next sentence is take it home with you, man. If you want to know what's wrong with any human being, take this home with you.
No human being, however good, is exempt from these troubles.
And the next sentence you really want to take home.
Nearly every serious emotional problem can be seen as a case of misdirected instinct.
Dude, that's beautiful. You know what? I've been running around my whole life going, what the hell is the problem? What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Nearly every serious emotional problem can be seen as a misdirected instinct. What is wrong with me is I'm being driven by my instincts unnaturally, and I know it. And they're perverted and out of whack. Nearly every serious emotional problem that's inside of me can be seen as a misdirected instinct. I just found the answer. You just found the answer. Now the process becomes of discovering those instincts, how they function in you, and how they got hurt. Yes, but you're going to ask something? I don't know.
I was going to ask something. Is it at all important to attempt to understand why they went awry?
You know, I tell you, I love in step 9, it says there's no pat answers, which is kind of a question you last week about, I got this and that going on. There's no pat answers, you know what I mean? That's what this is about. It's an organic program. So, you know, in terms of that, you know, I can't give you a particular answer. It doesn't fit one way or another. Is it important for one? Maybe for you, maybe not for someone else. But I will tell you one thing that I have learned that a great man told me. And he said, sometimes in life, you don't even ask the question why, because there's no purpose. There's no reason to know why. You're never going to find out. And one of those reasons is why. I got a good one for you. Why am I an alcoholic, drug addict? Why am I messed up in personal relationships? Why do I have all this stuff going on with me? We've read that a lot of times. 46, last paragraph. Just go right to 47 and start there in the very first sentence. It says we had made.
47?
Yeah, 47, very first sentence.
We had to drink because at home we were smothered with
You've gone
love.
too far. Where are you at? You had to drink because times were hard or times were good. Start right there, bro.
Oh, yeah, I missed it right.
Actually, start with we had
to drink
made. We had
because-
made. We had
I'm
made.
sorry.
Very first sentence. We had made the bench of alibis a fine art. Damn, I just read it. You don't have to read.
Oh, I knew what you meant, yeah.
Okay.
That famous one.
Right.
We had to drink because times were hard or times were good. We had to drink because at home we were smothered with love or got none at all.
So this is all a question of why you messed up, man. Why am I tweaked? We all ask it, right?
Yeah.
It's all within us. Like, why am I so screwed up? Why do I have these issues? Why am I in trouble like this? Why am I in this position one more time? There's an infinite complexity of reasons why. But there's only 3 causes. Remember that. And it has to do with the primary instance. Go ahead.
Right. We had to drink because at work we were great successes or dismal failures. We had to drink because our nation had won a war or lost a peace. And so it went ad infinitum.
So remember this, though, guys. The most important thing is the reasons are not as great as you think, because in reality of life, there are only 2 fears. Right? And there's unlimited forms, but only 2 causation fears. We're going to look at those before you go home. 76, second paragraph. We're going to look at the 2 fears now. What are the 2 fears in life that any of us have to face? In other words, when you're uncomfortable, you're in any situation, it's one of these 2 fears that are causing it. Go ahead.
The chief activator of our defects.
Well, go ahead and let Shai read.
The chief activator of our defeat of our defects has been self-centered fear, primarily fear that we would lose something we already possess, or would fail to get something we demanded.
That's it. Those are 2 fears. I'm going to lose what I already got, or I'm not going to get what I want. Those are the only 2 fears in life. That's not a lot. Unlimited forms if you don't chase them. But you want to get causes. You're afraid you're going to lose what you got, and you're not going to get what you want. Get over it, man, and get past it. Realize it's not true. It's just a boogeyman in your head. If you want to treat it, go to your Creator and say, God, help me to realize my dependencies on you, not on losing the things I got. If it goes away, you're going to put something better there anyway. I don't want to hang on to things. Stop hanging on to your old furniture, man. Let's replace it with some new stuff. You see, you hang on to old stuff because you think until you replace it, then you'll let it go. You got to clean house and trust in God, and then things start to come in. So the 2 fears are really treatable. I'm going to lose what I got, or I'm not going to get what I want. You got to stop living in a life where you're not getting what you want. That's frustration. Go ahead and finish that. Living upon a basis.
We were living upon a basis of unsatisfied demands. We were in a state of continual disturbance and frustration. Therefore, no peace was to be had unless we could find a means of reducing the demands. The difference between a demand and a simple request is plain to anyone.
Let's see, man. Stop reducing the demands for your life. If you're frustrated, see, I didn't realize when I'm frustrated, I'm in demand. I didn't think that. I just thought I was frustrated. When I'm angry, I didn't realize I'm in demand. I'm demanding something. That's why I'm pissed. And when I'm frustrated, it's because I'm not getting what I want. And in one way or another. So frustration is nothing more than immaturity. That's all it is. I don't want to be immature. I can't live on a basis of one side. Start reducing your demands. It's not that big of a deal. And ask your Creator what those are, okay? That's all the time, unfortunately, we got for tonight. We got some stuff we got to wrap up. So thank you guys, man. That's all we got. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do our webinar in the rehab in Vegas, but I guess we'll figure out next week. They were not happy, though. I can tell you that. Anyway, all right. So we got some announcements.